All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Thursday. I think today was the maybe the first day I have started exactly at 9 a.m. So that's got to count for something. And I mean, first day in what feels like months where I don't have anyone sleeping next door. I can keep the office door open. I can be a little bit louder. Feeling very much in my main habitat here this morning and feeling sharp, feeling refreshed, feeling good. Hopefully, everyone is feeling the same here today and are ready, right? What should hopefully be a relatively interesting trading day. We got a lot of overnight headlines, right, with tariffs being illegal and then being challenged in court and all sorts of chaos. So certainly should be a day where we get a little bit of some interesting price action, and I'm excited, right, to see basically where narratives want to shape up or what those narratives want to look like here this AM. There's a few things, right, from like a operational perspective that's probably worth touching on here just a little bit. Um, One, we've had a relatively good trading week here so far. So, there's very limited reasons to need to force anything or to rush anything or to like overtrade anything. And I'm kind of telling myself this at the start of the session because I think that there is a little bit of an expectation of today maybe being like a little bit of chop city, right? Or being maybe a bit of a whipsaw, maybe is a better term. So I just want to make sure that like mentally I'm kind of preparing myself not necessarily to not trade or to trade. I'm preparing myself to just look at price action as objectively as I can and then basically allow the results, right, to kind of come into place. There's been kind of a few what we call like strange things, I guess, this year. But this year has been a really I think positive, all things considered, been a really positive year so far, and it's been a very positive year because there's been a little bit of like detaching of my trading ego from my trades. Right, I'm almost like a little bit less attached to my win rate this year, and I think that that's been extremely positive. And it's made things to be honestly like I think easier. Truth be told, and I was talking with my cousin about this last night, and yeah, like it's kind of liberating to not need like a massive win rate to be a successful trader, to prove that out, to have that success rate, to effectively be having like one of my best starts to a trading year in a very very long time. We're not quite at 6 months. So I'm still willing to call it that. Has been a really welcome change. Um, and I long may it continue. Right, is kind of what I'm getting at here a little bit, but really the concept of just like throwing away the ego as much as possible. And I'm not perfect at it. I still get annoyed and frustrated and things along those lines, but it has allowed me to I think be a much better trader and to play the game a little bit more. Like I can almost like live out the probabilities more on a day-to-day basis instead of needing each singular result to be like life changing, right? So I think from just like a mental capital perspective, I've been really enjoying these changes. I've been really having a lot of fun, right, with these changes. And um, yeah, I don't really have too much like negative to say. Now, there are some things that will always need to be improved when we're trading, right? This is the game that forces us to constantly reflect internally, right? Study, review, analyze what we're doing well, what we're doing wrong, and then figure out solutions on how to fix those things. But I think starting out as like a general statement, right, with less ego on our decisions, it does make life 25,000 times easier, and that's a tremendous amount of joy. For whatever reason, my voice is still like really weak and pathetic, so bear with me a little bit here as I figure that out. But um yeah, very excited for today's trading day. I'm optimistic that the system will kind of come together and it'll play out and it'll work out well. And I'm not going to force anything, and I'm not going to rush into anything, and I'm not going to allow myself to overtrade or do anything stupid. I'm interested more in just compounding green days, in, yeah, basically compounding 1%, right? Not needing the validation of a monster win, yeah, I think is also right, like a big kind of benefit here, where we play the numbers game, we get our wins for when they happen, and we stack them up and compound and walk away with those base hits, ultimately making a lot more money, right, than needing each day to be a 10K day. And again, I'm kind of going back to that like liberating feeling, where I feel liberated. And it feels probably more so now than maybe at any point in my like I'm gonna call it private trading career, but almost like my retail trading career, that like I am playing the probabilities game well. And yeah, I want to keep basically doubling down on that. The idea here, right, of having that like a win rate that's not 80%, right, or whatever it is on a trade to trade basis, has allowed me to take multiple shots at the same thesis, right? Multiple attempts at the same idea, and cut those losers quickly. And then when it does work out in my favor, I can add to those winning positions. I can build up my sizing, and I can really maximize my P&L potential there. So I think when I pair some of that like ego decoupling and the improvements to how I'm pyramiding into positions, and all of a sudden I think I've got a really good formula to not only play the probabilities but to maximize my P&L potential around them. And the more that I can embrace, I think, those concepts, the better my trading goes, right? I don't really have much of I don't have much evidence to suggest otherwise. So really trying to basically just continuing to double down on those concepts, get better, right? Like explaining them and hopefully trading them with you all. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and really excited for what should hopefully be a very, very interesting trading day. We've got a relatively busy economic calendar here, right? Just a bunch of Fed speak. Now, a lot of that is going to be in the afternoon, kind of outside of our traditional market hours. So, not necessarily a huge deal. Um, and we got crude oil inventories here today at 11, nat gas at 10:30. Kind of weird that wasn't done yesterday, but that's fine. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Let's start mapping things out. So, hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's excited to be here. I certainly am. And yeah, let's have ourselves a fantastic trading day. So, first things first, what's the count on ES? Let's start there and let's start building things out a little bit. What do we think? Yeah, right. So, red candle that made a higher high, decreasing volume, and then a gap up. So, spot on, right? Very similar story to what we had there yesterday. And I would be shocked, right, if this became a red candle. So, or today's pre-market became red. Um, from like a levels perspective, right? Our pre-market high 60.15 going to definitely be a starting point. So we'll go towards 60.10. We're at 59.50 here pre-market. So not too much needs to change, I think, from like a levels perspective, right? We'll go 59.70 as our starting point here to the upside. That's going to be 20 points away. Going to give us a lot of room. And then to the downside here, we're going to be looking at a 59.20, which again, I don't think we need to change. So yesterday, right, was a relatively honestly like a day of consolidation, right, more than anything. We did a good job trading it, but kind of like done our prep for us, for lack of a better term. So no reason to complicate things here too much. Similar story on NQ, or is it a little bit different? How do we feel? Yeah, same story, right? 1 for 3 here to the upside. Again, we had that formal consolidation there all day. And this brings back, right, a little bit of a bearish narrative for us here this morning. Where we have flexibility, right, to trade this both ways. We're going to be looking at 21.9 as our starting point here to the upside. Then again, we're fine. We've got, 500 points mapped out from there. All right. And then to the downside here, pre-market lows. We're looking at 21.5, 21.4, 21. So 21.5, 21.4. Cool. So yesterday, right, red candle. So today's pre-market is green, but yesterday's candles were red, right? So yesterday, red candle, decreasing volume, and then gap up. So the only thing that's strong, right, is yesterday's candle shape, daily close. So we're missing, right, both volume supporting that bearish narrative and a bearish gap down, right, to support that bearish narrative. So we'll only have one piece of information that's telling us that bears are in control. That makes sense? So the gap up is green, but that's only one part of the criteria. That makes sense, Nautilus? Can you send me a screenshot of your chart? And we'll see if something's missing. All right. CL here. So we got data at 11. Green candle, decreasing volume, gap down. So again, 1 for 3 here. Yeah, so send me your chart regardless so I can see maybe if you have a setting that's ticked different or something. To like the trade CL here today, I generally don't trade it on inventories day. And I'm going to stick to that. All right. Apple, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. Tesla, right? Big gap up here this morning. Again, right? 1 for 3. Microsoft, same thing. 1 for 3. Amazon, 1 for 3. You sound like a broken record here. AMD, big gap up. All right. Sympathy play with NVIDIA. 1 for 3. Actually, inside bar. That almost got sloppy. NVIDIA, big gap up, right? Post earnings. 142 now, beat on top and bottom line. And it's a 2 out of 3 with volume. Now, this would be potentially setting up as like a mean reversion type look, right? A gap fill type trade. We'll see if that happens. Meta, 2 out of 3 with vol or without volume. Weak, 2 out of 3. Okay, Netflix. Again, 2 out of 3 to the downside without volume. And then Google, 1 for 3 here. And then the old Vixaroonie hanging out at 19.06. So maybe expecting a little bit of more volatility here, but still like an implied range of like 1.2%, right? Something along those lines. So need to maybe be a little bit cautious here this morning and can go from there. Any questions here, team? Yeah, Nautilus, I'm looking at trading view on my computer or on my laptop here. That's also giving me a green candle. I'm not sure. It may be a little bit of like a misprint or a data misprint, but I just refreshed it on my PC and it's red. So I'm a little bit not sure why. Maybe there's that difference. Yeah. Oh, interesting. So when you adjust for the contract changes, that's what makes it green. And when you have it settlement as close on the daily interval, then it's red. So you might have this be adjusted tick, right? Or set like this. When I click this set button there at the bottom, which is what it has as my default setting, this candle's then red. That's the difference there. Any other questions here, team? All right, sweet. So I'm gonna go make myself a quick cup of coffee, spend just a few minutes here visualizing a successful trading day, and then jump back on in a couple minutes, and we'll do a quick little rundown here as this session is starting. So we'll be back in a couple, team. All right, guys, I'm back. No need to worry too much. Just had to go make some coffee, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much every day, right? Like last 5 minutes, give or take, before the market open, just spend a few minutes there, kind of visualizing my trading day, making myself a cup of coffee, giving my dog a few belly rubs, and just kind of like getting my mind right for the trading day. So apologies that I stepped away, but something I do every single day. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Any questions here, team, about the plan here this morning, right, or anything along those lines? Expecting it to maybe be like a little bit of a choppier day. You know, we had overnight headlines in both directions. So we had the overnight headline that pumped markets, right? That basically the courts were going to block all the new tariffs. And then we had the response, right, that they're going to challenge that in the Supreme Court or the appeal court or whatever the process is. And then that also sold off, right, effectively on the markets. So going to be like a little bit of a maybe teeter-totter here a little bit today. What's maybe a little bit interesting, right, about the pre-market conditions, or like, so maybe the overnight price action, better describing it. But like it's a good sign for a bullish market, right? When bad news hits the tape and markets kind of absorb that, right, and don't really sell off and die. You know, maybe today we're kind of getting that like first hint of it not being as strong of a market, maybe as we had previously. Now, obviously, it could change very rapidly, and things could change in a heartbeat. But something just to consider a little bit, right, and to think about. Basically, as we see how headlines get absorbed. So again, right, maybe an opportunity where we want to just slow down just a little bit here this morning, basically see how things get digested, and then go from there. Yesterday was definitely a step in the right direction, right? Like we got a really nice trade there, second trade of the day. So if we can now take that like final step, right, where our first trade of the day is like our best trade of the day, ultimately I think that would be like our best case scenario. So let's see how the day shapes up. Let's see where momentum basically comes into play here this morning. And then let's set ourselves up for a great trading day. Any questions here this morning, team? How's everyone feeling? Good. Good. Yeah, feeling good, Vinny. No complaints. I said this to start the day off, but it's like the first day in what feels like months where I've woken up and I've had no one here, which makes me sound like a bitter old man, but it's so nice to have your space. All right, so that's market open, and let's see, right? We might have an opportunity for some mean reversion setups and things like that. So we'll see where the momentum is here this morning. Yeah, good question, Rebecca. Is it like a nuisance or is it like a quirk? If it's a nuisance and it's bothering you, I'd probably walk away and just like, I don't know, get a couple extra hours of sleep or whatever. If it's like no big deal, same old, same old. eh. Well, I'm like, I've kind of had that same thought of like, why did I lose my voice? Oh, it's like maybe a little bit of stress. So I would always default into, like, if you have that inkling of like I should walk away or not trade, take it, because the market's always going to be here. And if you're not feeling your sharpest, you know what? It's easier to make that into an extreme negative than into an extreme positive. All right, so here's our first set of alerts, right? Some mean reversion opportunities on the 2 min. I'm just going to wait for the 3, right? We're still going to have the same opportunity, but a good size opening range, right? We haven't had one in this like nearly 100-point range in a long time. Very, very long time, actually. So interesting open. Here we go, crossed 100. That's a weird glitch. Very, very impressive volume. All right, so we have a 3-minute mean reversion look here on NQ. I'm very interested in this. Right, so it would be like this. And average move is 144 points. It's basically a one R move or a one range move. Pretty reasonable. We're looking at something like this, and then boxed in like this. Now, if that's going to be the case, then the pullback technique is going to be better for me. And I would need to be getting like 55 or better as an entry, kind of like in that zone. So we'll wait and see. Oh, one of my I don't know, we'll call it joys in life is getting like coffee from hipster coffee shops. And oh my gosh, the beans I purchased yesterday, they are doing a good job. So yeah, if I'm gonna trade this, right, I need to pull back or a tighter risk reward. So let's be chill. Last time we saw a big range like this, those are 5-minute reversals. Right. It ended up kind of being like a day of pain in the ass chop, right? So this was 113 points. I think we did 101 today, 102.5. So maybe again, right? We're getting some information, like a little bit of a slower morning here. Trying to find some more examples. A one day range samples is not really enough. Again, here, kind of another day of chop, right? Once we got that big opening range, choppy, 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 and then it breaks down. Wow, what happened on the 9th? So let's see, right? There's no rush here, no rush. And it almost Like it might almost be easier for us to get an entry if we just get the breakdown through the opening range low, right? And you're able to size up that way. We're going to have more target room, right? For that breakdown. So we're going to have a bigger move that we can kind of go after. And we might be able to get tighter position sizing. The problem right now, basically with this mean reversion look, is it's just really hard for us to get the position sizing we want. So even if I was to go aggressive technique, I'm looking at already about 28 points right on a perfect entry, which doesn't give me a ton of margin for error. Again, like I am interested, right? I am watching, but I'm going to need maybe using that 87 as my reference price if it breaks down. So using like the close price, right, of our confirmation candle. Okay, so let's watch it. It'd be a one contract play, right? One contract. $607 would be the stop. So let's see if we can get it. I mean, alternatively, right, we have a pretty good chance to get increasing volume here on this candle, which would set up that opening range breakdown, right, which might be the easier trade. And I'm guessing, right, so far that NVIDIA's, it's actually stronger than I thought. ES continues to consolidate. It's going to be close. It's going to be close from a volume perspective. Surprised, actually. Thought it was going to get there. It's okay, kind of back looking to the mean reversion opportunity here. Maybe I could do that. So 578 stop. And guys, when I'm like setting up my order window, right? Like I'm saying, or I'm finding my stop loss first. That's the first thing, right? So when I'm taking in my order entry, the first thing that I'm setting is my stop loss price, right? I'm not finding my stop loss after, it's the first thing. So I'm finding out what my profit target is, right? What my stop loss location is, and then I'm working backwards to my entry. Can't skip those steps because then what's going to happen is you're going to take a loss that's unexpected and you're not going to be ready to accept it. And it's just going to spiral out of control. So everything that we do is from a risk perspective first. That's what allows us to win big time. All right. So I am very much watching here. So far, not a fantastic reaction yet. Kind of still feels like a little bit of a fight. So I'm not ready to pull the trigger. That made a little higher high. So now stop loss would be 82.75. So we'll call that 83. Hey, good reaction. And again, this thing has a chance to go increasing volume here. So if I don't get an entry, like it seems like I might not, we can just do this, right? Not a big deal. We have a lot of space here on this 3-min. A lot of space. There's that increasing volume. So I'm watching, guys. I'm very much watching here. All right, so profit target writes that red line. Stop loss can be the high of our confirmation candle, so 82.50. Again, 83. Or alternatively, right, we're going to go aggressive with a stop loss for now of 55. And an entry around 36. So still no rush. Might be go tighter. So 53 as a stop loss. Okay, watching. And reference entry price, right, would be low of my confirmation candle, so 35. Now, if it wants to give me the pullback technique, then we'll change those numbers up a little bit. And then it'll be above 55, right, as my reference price. $21,581, we'll call it. Because I'm in no rush, right? If I don't get an entry here, no big deal. If I get an entry, no big deal, right? We're trying to be methodical here. ES is kind of a laggard, which is interesting. And we should get increasing volume on this 5-min as well. So again, we'll just keep resetting right until we get everything to sync up the way that we want. A bit frustrating because it's, moved 100 points almost, but no chasing, right? It's got to be perfect. Otherwise, it's not interesting. So ES also breaking down there on volume. Look, it's hard for me to want to cheat on NQ. So it is going to continue to be the focus a little bit here. And we're going to be looking, right, for the aggressive entry technique immediately because it made that lower low first. So now let's see where it finds some support, right? And then we can look for an entry. So reference price, right, is going to be 22.50, stop loss 35, we'll call it 36. I'm watching here. I'm watching for sure. All right, so let's see if we can get a little pullback now. Okay, so I am in 2 contracts, average price 526.25, short. All right, I'm just trying to watch this just for a second because you know it's not been a perfect reaction. But 526.25 short, 2 contracts. Stop loss 36. I got stopped out there for minus 411.52. Maybe a little bit of a fake out. Try this again. Stop loss would be 39. All right, so again, watching. We'll try this again. Bit unlucky. Kind of ruthless, actually. Super unlucky. Okay, potentially back in business here. All right. All right, come on. That's so mean. Shake me out by 3 points. That's tough. $36 versus 33. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. Taking a trade. Weird. I mean, I do get it, but fuck. Mean. Um, all right. All right. Again, we can try this thing again here. Same thing, right? We're going to be looking for now a 500 stop loss. All right. So I'm back in here. Average price 490. I might get stopped out right away. Yep. Got a bad fill on my stop. All right. We might be setting up a reversal now. Not quite. Okay, so again, still interested in this. Taking the long way around again. Well, 518. Okay, nope. Yeah, I know, Vin. It's been annoying. Pain in the butt. Maybe we can go not super traditional to do this as the pullback here. Maybe we could play the fake out entry technique. That might almost be a little bit better. That would be stop 545. And you're looking for price action to get back under this blue line, right? Then retest, and then that becomes your entry target. What was that, 545? Still watching here, still watching. Wait. That's a good rejection. Okay. Watching again for sure. Hey guys, so I'm back in here. Average price 36.50, and I'm gonna get stopped out again in a second. Please no, die. Fuck. Tough start. All right. Oh no, it's slow. First trading view. Y and QY. Yeah, well, if I have the opportunity, right, I will do it. But I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing, right? So please listen as well. Things sometimes move too quickly for me to be able to type things out, right? So you gotta just bear with me. All right, so we can look at an ES, maybe red to green. And that would be stop loss of 940. Okay, so watching closely, it'd be 3 contracts. Now I could go 4, maybe 5. Nope. Stay away. Do I have the courage to try the fake out entry once more? Yeah, Emmanuel, literally the exact same thing I just said, man. Sometimes things move just a little bit too fast for me to be able to type these things out. My hold time for my 3 trades is 90 seconds max. So you guys got to give me some leeway here. I'm not some AI mechanism, right? So no offense, guys. Like, get off my ass. Telling you exactly what I'm doing, right? Like, there's only so much that I can do with timing. Like, if I have the time to write out the trade, I absolutely will. But it's a live stream, right? So the point of live stream is that I can call things out. It's going to be faster in here than me typing it into the setup alerts channel and to write it out. Sometimes things just don't come together. Nice work, Kiki. Go enjoy the rest of your day. And again, do I have that downside breakdown opportunity here? Looking at a 530 stop loss. That is your reference price, like 414.75. So risking 15 points. Okay, so watching closely here. $9.59. We do have some data dropping in a minute, so I'm just going to wait this out. Pending home sales shouldn't be a big deal, but you never know. Okay, so still looking here. 525 was a stop. No, I'd still keep it at that 530. Okay, so give me a gentle pullback here. Come on. Bouncy, a little bit bouncy. All right, guys. So I am in average price 512.25, 512.25, stop loss 530. Two contracts. And yes, this time I had time to write it down, right? So you guys just got to give me a little bit of leeway, right? Obviously, I want to do this and give you guys all the information you need, but sometimes things just move too fast. Man, I keep getting stopped out at horrific prices. Got stopped out 2 points early there. Man, it's a shake and go. That's so annoying. I've been faked out 4 times here this morning. That's quite frustrating. Okay, so again, looking for that short. This has been a pain in the ass trade here so far. We're looking 492 stop loss. Gosh darn. All right, so we're ready for this candle. Frustrating start. Nice work, Mike. All right, so 458, right? Stop loss we're looking at now. Yeah, I can't believe I've been shaken out of this. Okay, so I'm back in here. 3 contracts, 447.75 short. Stop loss 458. There we go, team. There we go. So let's see if this thing can start to break down. Gosh, I have to take a lot of hits for this. All right, well, that's 1,500. Let's see if this thing can keep moving. You can potentially look to pyramid in here in a second. There's 2,000. This thing's moving fast. Okay, so I've just pyramided in. I now have 5 total contracts, average price 433.15. So let's see if this thing can break down basically under now 400. I'm going to look to get out, then just go enjoy my day. Come on. This should put you nicely green here on the session, right? That's 2,500. So let's see if this thing can go. Come on. Die, 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 die. Here we go. Here we go. Again, right? I didn't have time to post this trade here in the setup alerts channel. I just deal with it on the live stream, right? So watch this breakdown here through 400. That's what we're looking for. Come on, breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. So close. Yeah, 100%, Norm, 100%. Guys, I try to do everything as best as I can here. But sometimes, right, like these things move too fast. So if I post an alert in the setup alerts channel and it's 5 minutes late, that alert is going to cost someone a lot of money. You got to give me some leeway here, guys. Got to give me some leeway. Come on, you got this. You got this. Okay, watch this breakdown here, right? We're looking for a flush through 400. There we go, guys. We're in really good shape here. Really good shape. Almost 3K on this trade. So now watch this flush through 400, right? And this is going to be our opportunity to exit in a second. Watch for this flush, right? Watch for this flush. That's 3K again. Come on, you got this. 35. Come on, just a little bit more. Okay, watch here, guys. Give me your opportunity. Watch, watch, watch. Be ready to exit, right? Be ready to exit. Come on. Come on, give me the flush, baby. Give me the flush. Just bouncing just a little bit too much off of 400, I think. Come on, breakdown. Okay, here's gonna be our opportunity, right? Watch this flush, guys. Watch this flush. It finds a little bit of too much support there off of 400. A little bit too much support. All right, come on. I probably should have closed at 400, truth be told. Made this more difficult than it needs to be. Oh, greed's a crazy thing. Gotta die here. Come on. There we go. Get back, get back, get back. All right. So we have this opportunity, right? Again, don't mess this up, right? And I'm talking to myself here. I'm not talking to you guys. So let's get this, let's find our close, let's take our win, and let's go enjoy our lives, right? Again, watching for around that 400 breakdown. We're halfway there. Come on. Come on. Okay, watch, watch, watch. Finger on the trigger here, team. Finger on the trigger. Give me a little flush. Come on, just a little one. Breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. There it is, guys. There it is. All right, keep flushing, keep flushing. All right, I am out. 4,500 bucks on that trade. Exit price 387.50. 387.50 exit price plus 45, 64.89 on that trade. And boom, right? There we go. We have to really fight for that here today, but if that doesn't make you green on the day, not many other trades will. So I'm pretty stoked on that. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of stress, but nicely green. Very nicely green. How's everyone doing? Everyone green? Nice work, AJ. There we go, Emmanuel. Let's go, Mike. Nice work, Norm. Let's go, Steven. Congratulations. Beautiful team. Beautiful. Nice work, Jalen. Awesome. It's your first win you've shared in the chat. Nice work. Let's go, Barton. Congratulations. So, guys, right? Like, I will always share with you what I'm doing. I will always tell you exactly what I'm doing. There will be trades where things move too fast, where I can't write it on my screen, right? I'm always going to be selfish and make sure that I can manage my position first, right? Before I do anything else, which is why I try to be a vocal communicator, right? Because I can say things faster than I can type them out. So that's the reason, right? Right? As much as I want to be able to do everything always, I have to be selfish and make sure that I'm protecting my account right above everything else. So I appreciate your guys' patience with me here this morning. But that's the point of the live stream, right? Is you're going to get my stream of consciousness. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I'm going to box in my trades. And yeah, 90% of the time, we're going to be able to write them out. We're going to be able to do everything, right? So everyone has all the information they need. But I'm going to give you everything you need before we ever enter a trade. So please, right? Don't wait till I write down I'm in a trade for you to then to replicate it. If you're doing that, you're going to be late and you're going to miss a tremendous amount of opportunities. It does seem like that, Rashawn. Like I have the data I've had in the last like month and a half has been best trades happen at like, yeah, we'll say like 950 to 1050. Kind of like in that range. Yeah, guys, I can't complain. It's 3K on the day, a little bit less than 3K. 2987 and some change. That's a good day. Again, right? Talked about this in the beginning of the day. Like we've been trading in a way that makes our win rate irrelevant. And yeah, it's really nice when that proof of concept, right, works out. So awesome day, team. Awesome, awesome day. Sorry for being a bit of a snappy prick. Oh, and breathe. How's everyone feeling? You know what, Ajay, that's so much of what trading is, right? Is it's like, how can I protect myself from myself so that I'm not pulling my hair out? Yeah, my pleasure. You know what we're gonna have to do? Maybe this is uh let's go. Great day. 2%. Let's go. Yeah, everyone green. Love it. Love it. Yeah, truth be told, guys, right? It's 9:20 or 10:25. I'm not gonna place another trade here, right? There's no value in it for me. There's like the risk of now giving back this P&L instead of like making another $1,000. The risk or like the tilt risk, right, is greater giving it up. And we're almost back to the average price. So, you know what? Where we closed was within 7 points of the low a day. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. That's a great trade. Oh, Sounds good, Norm. Congratulations on a big day, man. That's awesome. No worries, mate. Like I believe it or not, I actually love doing this. Sometimes it probably doesn't come off that way, but I do love this. Oh, any questions here, team? Anything maybe that is sticking out or doesn't make sense? What a life. Well, because the like when I was playing those trades, right? I best basically kept getting faked out, and then the move ended up happening anyway, right? So it wasn't like my thesis was wrong or my directional bias was wrong. It was basically just that my timing was wrong. So I had the correct directional bias. I just couldn't get the timing right to start the day off. And so that's the thing, right? Like my win rate is irrelevant because if I have the correct directional bias, right, like I had here today, I can go 1 for 4, right, and like make more money than people make in a month, right, in a single trade and make back all my gains. So if I keep my position sizing small, right, I keep that risk small. And then when the wind works out in my favor and it goes in my direction, I can pyramid in and really increase my profits. I need to be correct like 1 out of 10 trades to make money. So if that's like the margin of error that I have no ego problems of like, yeah, trying it multiple times, right? Until it either clearly starts working against me, right? I.e., like the thesis gets invalidated, or right, I get my entry time incorrect and then I get paid out on that move. So forcing myself to lose small kind of allows me to maintain a little bit of objectivity so that I can catch those moves when they do finally come together. Yeah, it's not always smooth. I don't think we should expect it to be. We should be sizing our positions and almost like being loose in our executions so that we can hedge the timing risk, right? I would rather have 5 shots at it than 1 shot at it because my probability of getting it correct in 5 shots is higher than in 1 shot. So if I'm managing my risk in that way, I'm setting myself up to basically play the probabilities better. And then when I add to my winning positions, when I add to my winners, now I can like really juice the odds in my favor. So like the point, right, of risking that $500 per entry is that it allows me, right, to be, and I want to be careful how I phrase this, but it allows me to be a little bit more speculative with my entries, right? I don't have to be so hyper focused on this one has to be perfect. I can reduce pressure on myself and just play my system and allow the math behind my system to make me money instead of needing to be perfect. Because I'm not perfect, right? I'm a deeply flawed human. I'm a deeply flawed trader. So I'm just trying to make it easy on myself. And being the best loser in that context actually makes it much easier. Which, yeah, like it's kind of humbling, and it's the more difficult thing to do. Like not taking fuck like those first four losses or first three four losses. Yeah, I went 1 for 5 today. They were frustrating as all heck, right? Fuck, like I'm correct. Why am I losing money? And so just not like keeping my position sizing small enough so that I can be annoyed, but not have my behavior change or like to put me on tilt so that I'm taking trades that I shouldn't take is kind of the end game of that position sizing. So I'm trying to size my trades so that I can be more speculative, where I can play the probabilities, I can allow the variance to go in my favor, and I can make my timing irrelevant. It's kind of the objective. It makes my job easier as a trader because being perfect is fun, and it's great when you top tick and you bottom tick and you don't spend any time in the red. But I also think that that's like a little bit unlikely when you have these choppy markets and you have this like kind of bouncy conditions. So you just take the information the market is giving you and you build around your risk management plan so that it doesn't screw you over. Like, yeah, truth be told, guys, if I need to be correct on 20% of my decisions and I'm gonna make 4,600 bucks, right? When I'm correct on one of those decisions, I can spend a lot of time being wrong and be wildly profitable. So when things kind of even out, right? And then you have that nice run of form and the variance kind of goes in your direction. Well, then these, 3K days are going to be 10K days, right? Or 15K days or 5K days. And so to a certain extent, we're almost like trying to size our position so that we can survive until we thrive. That's kind of the objective. So my position sizing is designed so that I can survive basically a bunch of mistakes, right? Or a bunch of losing trades, and then still be one trade away from being green. That's why my win rate, right, on the year it's a coin flip, but I'm like green on 80 something percent of my days. Right. So my win rate's the ego. Oh, I need a big win rate to be a millionaire or whatever the bullshit is. But the thing that matters is okay, how often are you turning your green days into green weeks? How often are you turning those green weeks into green months? And then how aggressive is the language you're sending your boss when you send them your resignation after a couple green months, right? That's what we're trying to judge ourselves on. If we need each trade to be perfect, that makes it really hard to accept a loss. And it makes it hard for us to then make money when the thesis does actually play out. So almost everything I do is designed to protect me from myself. And in that context, right, myself, the bad versions I like or don't like, right, are the ego based decisions where it's like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this trade. It better work. When I start to get those types of thoughts or those types of behaviors, trading doesn't go well. So if I effectively do the opposite of that, right, I'm protecting myself from those like worst case scenario opportunities. And then I can effectively be a freaking idiot and still make a lot of money. And that's a much better place to be. Yeah, my pyramid price I bought 2 units at 411.25. 411.25, which brought my average price to be 433 and some change. So pyramid price was 411.25. And I went from 3 contracts to 5. You know what, guys? We pretty much bottom ticked that exit. Pretty much perfect. That was awesome. Yeah, I think it's a fine balance because yeah, like if you're wrong on your pyramid and then you get like that violent reversal, your P&L evaporates so fast. And I can be super stressful. Yeah, love to hear that, Rajat. Congratulations. Hey guys, been a heck of a week here, right? It's been a really strong week. Dude, fantastic. 2K on the day is incredible. Let's go. And you guys seeing these numbers. No, I didn't change my stop loss on that trade, AJ. Oh, stop loss remained where it was. Like at one point, I had like probably down $1,000 on that pyramid, and then it broke down. So again, it's kind of like that fine balance, right? Can you remain objective so that you can look at price action reasonably well, so that when the numbers change, right, you don't panic and change your plan. But there was no like increasing volume profile. There was nothing there that told me that my thesis was wrong. And then if I'm looking at how price action has moved here so far today, right? How many of these little pullback fakeouts and then breakdowns happen, right? Let's go, Logan. That was $2,300 yesterday too, right? Let's fucking go, man. That was epic. Yeah, that's fantastic, AJ. It's a much better pyramid price than I got. Ah, no worries. It's a good lesson though, right? You have a good trading day. It's better to just walk away and lock in that profit than it is to try to make that like better, right? Like the risk of um yeah, of giving back your gains and going from green to red. I think that's where it's like price action is the most tilting. So take your trades, right? Take your money and just like go enjoy life. Optimize for freedom, not to like just stare at the screens all day. But I mean, dude, all things considered, almost 4,500 bucks and like 4 hours of work. Pretty hard to complain. Oh, any other questions here, team? I hear that, man. Well, it's a really good start. Go walk away, right? Go enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Once markets are closed, right? Spend a little bit of time studying your trading. Hey, what did I do well? What can I improve? What can I focus on tomorrow? And really focus on being a technician again, right? Did a really good job managing your risk. Did a really good job of not getting like, for lack of a better term, butt hurt, right? When things didn't work out in our first couple trades. That's a much more sustainable path because we will always find winners, right? So it's just, can I survive until the market wants to cooperate? And that's all we're playing, right? I'm not, it's not about being or catching tops and bottoms. It's not being correct on 100% of my decisions. So it's just understanding that that's not going to make me any extra money obsessing over those details. So how can I make that irrelevant, for lack of a better term, and just play my game? The more that we focus on playing our game, right, and just playing the numbers game, right, setting up things to be probabilistic, right, focusing on those risk reward requirements, right, adding to our winners instead of adding to our losers, we can be fucking idiots and still make money. That's basically what my objective is, right? I could be the dumbest trader of all time and still be profitable the way that I have my risk management and position sizing set up. And that's the end game, right? I'm trying to make it easy for myself to win, not more difficult. And expecting myself to be green 1 out of 5 times is much easier than expecting myself to be green 4 out of 5 times. Now, the reality is it's somewhere in the middle, right? But I'm more willing to assume that my first or that every trade is wrong than I am willing to assume that every trade is correct. Because then when I am proven right that my trade is like my thesis was correct, then I can build up my position sizing, right? I can add to my winners and I can pay myself significantly. That's the end game, always. Everything else is a vanity metric. Only thing that matters is how often do you finish the day green? How much do you keep at the end of the month? Optimize for those things first, not for your win rate. Your win rate doesn't dictate that. Beautiful day, team. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, guys, I'm going to go final call for questions here. Final call for questions. All right, final call, final call. All right, sweet team. So if no further questions, right? Same deal like always. Feel free to hit me up outside of market hours, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, looking forward to catching up with a few of you here in our one-on-ones later this afternoon. Do a nice little deep dive on today's trades. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with a few of you then. Yeah, like I said, same deal like always. Right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. We'll do my best to get back to you. But I think now it's time for some ginger and honey tea. Do some work on getting this voice back to where it needs to be. And then we can finish off the week with an absolute bang tomorrow. But fantastic trading day. Really good work here today, team. Really proud of how we're detaching our ego from our results. And it's working well, right? So more of the same here tomorrow. Hopefully smoother, but really focusing on those details, right? Really getting good at those details. That's what's going to make us money. Ignore all the other impulses you might have. Stick to the system, stick to the rules, focus on your position sizing and your risk management, and you will get paid. So have yourselves a great rest of the afternoon, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.